pisses me off. Not because I'm soft. I'm not soft. But if you want to wrestle, let's wrestle. If you have a problem with me, let's settle it. If you can't beat me on the mat, try to beat me in the parking lot. But if you can't beat me on the mat, I doubt you can do much to me in the parking lot either.
The previous administration took all the guys, wink, wink.
I just want some ice cream, man. I just want some ice cream.
Welcome to episode, I believe we're calling it number 1 of the Shots Fired podcast. I'm Eric Schares along with Mack Reiter here. Been having some serious technical difficulties the last couple shows. We've been doing about a weekly show, whether it be on here or via text message. Just no one other than ourselves have been hearing it. So hopefully this is the first one and we can string together a bunch here of good ones where technology isn't actively playing defense against us. But how you doing tonight, Mac?
I'm doing really good. I'm excited to be back. We had those 2 episodes we recorded. We were all ready to get into it, and then your computer went down, and it's been a struggle to get back up. And hopefully this thing, now we've got it figured out, and we can get back to a weekly schedule and offer up some piping hot takes.
The good thing now is I think if anyone's to blame that this one doesn't get put on there is Tony Hager. So I'm just glad that we don't have to. The ball's not in our court anymore.
Right. We got to talk to him about our music, too, our opening music. We got to figure out a way to get that back on. Get Panama by Van Halen.
Yeah, I don't know what the rights are and all that, and it's kind of fun doing this right now. I can see Tony on the camera, and his mic is muted, so he can't really talk right now, but it's fun watching his facial expressions.
Yeah. I'm going to talk to Mr. Van Halen. I'm going to get him to write a personal letter to allow us to use Panama, because that's, to me, so the backstory behind that is, we've always I have this running joke with some of my friends that, you'll see a guy at the conference tournament that just, goes full eject mode and he's out, he's done, and he's only thinking about spring break in Panama City. And that's kind of where that's our Shots Fired kind of spawns from. And then we make lighthearted jokes that people are there putting their heart and soul into their wrestling career.
Yeah, that's kind of where this whole thing stems from. So, you want to get going here? You want to start talking about something?
Yeah, absolutely. This is something small and obviously not really related to wrestling, but just kind of thinking here with the Olympics getting going. I was talking to some people and this just kind of floored me. But so if you were to compare the two, what's your favorite, Summer Olympics or Winter Olympics?
Oh, I'd have to say Summer Olympics just because, wrestling number 1.
Wrestling and all the track events. I always thought it was like everybody in the world just thought, the Summer Olympics are better, or everybody in the U.S. So that's the way better one. And then I live up here in Minnesota, and I asked a couple people that I work with, and they were both just immediately like, "Oh, the Winter Olympics are way better." And I was just kind of floored at. I never had that thought at all that they were even close. The Winter Olympics are fine and well, good, but it's just a break, that breaks up that 4-year gap before we get the Summer Games again. It's kind of my opinion on it. But, I like the Olympics. Obviously, Olympics is cool because you get to see people that have put every amount of their effort and being into something for 4 years to try to reach that highest level.
Yeah, I think that might be kind of a Minnesota thing because I'm not a real big skier or anything, so
right.
I mean, it's way hard. I know it's hard, but I can't really put a lot of it in this perspective how hard some of that stuff is. So that's part of it for me, I guess. Anyways,
my favorite event though was definitely the skeleton, the guy on the tiny little 8x8 sled doing 90 miles an hour down the ice chute. That's definitely the best event.
I went outside with my little guy today, and I kind of made one of those. I made a huge pile, and I was showing him down. It was.
You got it dressed in some American flag or something as you kicked him down the hill?
No. I was just trying to keep the dog out of the way from tackling him every time he went down. That was my number 1 goal.
All right. Well, let's talk wrestling.
Yeah. Where do you want to go? What do you want to talk about?
We can talk a little bit about last weekend as much as I don't want to talk about last weekend. I'm not going to try and dodge it or avoid it. It happened. It sucked. Iowa kicked the crap out of Minnesota. That's always a tough one for me. It's a big duel for me. Is obviously growing up in Iowa, coming up here and wrestling in Minnesota. It's an important one every year, and it was kind of weird. I missed it this year. I wasn't able to go just because I ended up going down to Simley High School to watch the big match between Steveson and Kirkleet, and so I didn't go down to Carver. And I was thinking about it. I think that's the first time I've missed the Iowa-Minnesota duel since I would guess 2002 would probably have been the last time I was not there for that duel. So it was weird. Got home, watched it on TV after I had recorded it and watched it, and it sucked. and like the worst part was I was on like maybe probably around like 197 or so, or heavyweight, when the duel must have got over in real time. And I got like 5 text messages from people that thought they had like the funniest, never heard before wisecrack that like, oh, they're going to really get me good. And so I knew something bad was coming. And like, I'm watching that 41-pound match and I'm like, all right, something must happen here, because I wouldn't have got, like, if Minnesota had just won the last 2 matches, yeah, Iowa still would have, kicked the crap out of Minnesota, but it wouldn't have been like that. I wouldn't have had everybody like gloating and texting me and stuff. And then the inevitable happened, and I got really mad.
Really 41 was the only one you could be, I don't know, too mad about, I guess. I know. Yeah. I mean, Lezak, he just got his butt whooped, and
right.
Yeah, maybe you thought Wanzik was going to give him a go there, but
I don't think I never thought that Alex Marinelli is just a really bad stylistic matchup for, I think, Wanzik. His hands are way too heavy and he's too physical. I think Wanzik matches up better with even like Vincenzo or Aymar than he does with Marinelli, because Marinelli's just too physical and he's just going to beat you up. So that one I never really thought we had a chance. 74 being, it was somewhat close in a match that was at least, I don't know if I would say winnable, but it was a close match. Neither guy looked great. 84 was pretty cool. My brother Bart texted me. He's like, he wondered if Crone, when he gets on top of a guy, if he whispers in their ear, "Welcome to the Crone zone." But then, yeah. So obviously, if we look at it, starting at 49, we're just, with a backup in there against number 2 guy in the country, that's a huge mismatch. And Sorensen went out and took care of business just like he, was supposed to. And then Kemmerer against Short was a match that was the same way. I think Kemmerer is just a much better wrestler, and it's just not going to go that well for Minnesota in that one. I don't know. What were your thoughts on the duel?
Well, we did our preview last week that only 2 people heard, like we discussed before.
I guessed it exactly right.
Did you really?
No.
Oh. Well, we talked about how Lee and Lezak could get ugly. That's not, we were kind of expecting that a little bit. I guess I wasn't really impressed at how Iowa's upper weights wrestled, or particularly 97, 84.
Yeah.
That's kind of, those guys are definitely trending down at the wrong time of year. I mean, there's still time to turn it around, but that was a little scary. But yeah, I mean, it was nothing crazy, I guess.
Yeah. I was surprised that match with Wilkie and Anderson was that close. But then, you look at the same way. I was also surprised that McKee was that close with Glenn. I never thought that should have been even remotely close. Mitch just looked bad. To be honest, I didn't think Thorne and Happel should have been close at all. And Fire went out and ended up sticking Thorne, which was a real, just a nice way to cap off an otherwise extremely frustrating duel. But
yeah, and we kind of talked about how we thought maybe Iowa was kind of screwing over their guys at 41, just keep splitting back and forth, where they were maybe going to rob one of them from getting an allocation.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you think Happel won the spot with that match?
man, here's what I said. I said this on a message board. So, I've watched both.
You're a big message board.
Oh yeah, I'll fight anybody on the message boards. So I said I've watched both of them wrestle every match all year, and Happel has had his boneheaded mistakes and had looked off in matches, but he's had at least a handful of times where I'm like, yep, he's the guy right here. Now Turk, he's maybe had a few less boneheaded, matches, but there was never one time where I'm like, okay, this needs to be the guy here. So to me, it's Happel's got the higher ceiling. Everyone's been talking about Turk forever, it seems like. And I've never once watched him wrestle anybody competitive in D1 and been like, yeah, this guy's got a shot to be an All-American someday. So to me, I want to keep seeing Happel out there.
So what's the long-term plan then? Because that Max Mirren is back, is the red shirt, right?
Yep.
So is Happel become a backup, or does Happel beat him, or does Happel go down? I mean, who's going where long term?
Yeah, we kind of talked about that at the beginning of the year that he might never sniff the lineup again. I mean, he's getting better, and these matches are close, but there's a real chance that he might not be in there because Mirren's beat him, I think, twice.
Okay.
At the Wrestle now, and then you got Lugo coming in at 49.
What grade will Lugo be? Junior?
Junior, I believe. Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's he already took his red shirt. Happel did, so
right.
It might get real interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's you want a wealth of talent, and I always believe that the good guys will find a way to make it in the lineup. If Carter Happel is supposed to be an All-American in Division I, then he'll find a way to get in the lineup. And I don't know. That's people. I don't think people. And some people will then say, why do the brands recruit over people? Well, you know what? Division I wrestling is a business. As hard as it is for people to understand, it is an absolute business. And if you're not getting the job done, then they're going to find somebody that will. And it's their job to put the best team on the mat. Whether they don't owe you anything, they owe you the opportunity to become the best wrestler that you can be. But if you're not taking charge of your, what you need to, they owe it to the rest of the team to go find somebody who will. And I don't think people like to see that. I don't think wrestling people don't think of it that way. They think, well, if you recruit somebody, well, then he's supposed to be your guy. That's not it at all, I don't think.
That's kind of how I looked at it with Pat Downey, I guess. Everybody was up in arms, like, Bowman's doing pretty well. I want him to be the guy there. Mm-hmm. But it's like 5 years from now, nobody's even going to remember Bowman or that Downey was in there. Like, they're not going to be like, oh, yeah, well, that was the year that Iowa had Downey in there. He's not the greatest person in the world. So to me, it's you owe it to the rest of the team to put the best guy out there.
I had that my freshman. So when I committed to Minnesota, I signed in the fall. Then that spring, I went to senior nationals, and in the second round, I had some kid out of California who I had never heard of before. He wasn't a state champ, but they got to go because one class. And
I know exactly who this is.
And it was this kid by the name of Manny Rivera, and I didn't know nothing about him. And I lost. He rode me out in double overtime. So I lost to him. Well, then that next week, all of a sudden I see Manny Rivera commits to Minnesota. And I was like, what what happened? All of a sudden I'm getting replaced. And I called Schwab up. And I didn't, I wasn't, but I was like, hey, I saw you guys got a commitment from the guy that beat me last week. And he's like, oh, we've known Manny for a long time. He's been going to J-Rod camps forever. And we were always recruiting him and stuff. And he went on to win senior nationals that year. I mean, he came out of nowhere. He got third at state, but then ended up winning senior nationals. And turns out that, but then I knew, we came in there, we redshirted, and then that first year it was Manny and one of us was going to be the starter at 33. And we ended up going to the Bison Open, and I think I ended up majoring him in the Bison finals. But, then Manny ended up going up to 41, and he was a great wrestler at 41 for Minnesota. But yeah, I mean, that was my first realization that it's not just you. It's, there's other guys out there, and unfortunately you gotta, the coach owes it to the rest of the team and the administration and the fans to put the best product on the mat.
Isn't that funny how something like that could never happen now in 2018, where you go to senior nationals and you have, who the heck is this guy? You go out and get your butt whooped by him. No, that's Manny Rivera. I kind of have a story like that too. My 8th grade year, I kind of took a big step and that was the first year I placed at state. So I went on to national duels. They were wrestled in the field house at Simpson College. And, you don't know who any of these guys are. There's teams from Ohio. Jordan had a team there. There's teams from Oklahoma and Virginia. And anyways, we were wrestling the Virginia team, and Daryl Weber, fellow Bosco wrestler, was the coach of him because he's out there in Virginia. And I was wrestling this kid, and, I had a pretty good ankle pick. I took him down like nothing right away. Let him go. Took him down again. Anyways, I ankle picked him 3 times. On the last one, I ankle picked his head. I pushed his head into the table, and he's laying there like he's dead. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm getting a forfeit here. So that's going to be the end of it. And he's laying there, and, yep, he's going to default, I think. All of a sudden he gets up. Oh, he's ready to go. Okay, I guess we're going to wrestle. He chooses top and cradles me like it's nothing and pins me. And I was so mad. Anyways, Daryl Weber comes up to my dad because, we both from Gilbert. They know each other.
Yeah.
He's like, so, Eric's really good, huh? And my dad was like, well, I don't know. He's okay. Like, why? Why do you say that? He's like, well, that kid's like a 3-time national champ. How many times state champ? That was Bubba Jenkins. I was whooping him, and then I got cradled and pinned.
Your careers took 2 different paths.
Yep. Well, yeah. At least Taylor got caught in that same cradle, so.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good cradle.
I wasn't a total sucker, I guess.
Yeah. And you took him down 3 times. David Taylor never did.
But that's the thing, like, Bubba Jenkins, he's how quick, and I set him on his butt 3 times that ankle pick.
Right.
But that was it.
That's funny.
Okay, I got another story for you. We're talking about Iowa, Minnesota. Did you wrestle Dan Dennis one year for Iowa, Minnesota? Or am I thinking of Slayton?
I wrestled...
in Minnesota.
I wrestled Dennis at one point. I wrestled Slayton my senior year in Minnesota.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was the year it was. So anyways, it was me and 2 of our other buddies from high school, Joel Dudley, Zach Steffen, were going up to watch you wrestle that day. And once again, this is before the days of GPS or anything.
Right.
So like, oh yeah, we'll just go up there. And here was our GPS. The night before, Zach talked to a girl at a party who was from Minnesota. And she's like, oh yeah, it's so easy. You're on 35, you just take this turn and you're there. So we're like, okay, this is really easy.
Which
so
is right.
We're getting up there, and we forget what turn it is, and all of a sudden we take a wrong turn. We're like, this is not even close to right. And, we're looking at the clock, and it starts in like 15 minutes. And there's no GPS back there or anything. So we're asking people on the street, and they're looking at us like we're the dumbest people ever. So we're driving around. I remember it was 2 minutes before the meet started. And I was like, we're never going to see this meet. We don't even know where we're at. All of a sudden we turn a corner, boom, there it is. We walk in, and you were the first match. It was just.
Well, I was second that one. I think.
Well, okay, that was the first one we saw then. But
yeah, I think Jason Pinn Falk that match.
Yeah, it was just crazy how one other story that could never happen again now with the days of GPS. But
yeah, that's a night I'd like to forget. That was a rough one. I did not manage my weight properly leading up to that duel and had a forgetful match.
See, I don't even think I remember how the match went.
I just got tired in the third. I ran out of gas. Like I said, I was at a very, very, very bad, probably my all-time worst weight management leading up to that match. So that'll be a story for the summer. We don't need to get into that. We're in the middle of the heart of the D1 season. This is the easiest time to podcast there is. We got a big duel coming up this weekend.
Yep. Absolutely.
Iowa Penn State. You want to run through it?
Sure. Get it started.
I got my spreadsheet all ready to go. I can keep track of our scores.
I don't want to touch my computer so it doesn't reset, so I'm not going to pull my spreadsheet up.
I'll be your computer guy.
Okay, thank you.
Spencer Lee, Carson Kuhn. I think this is going to be at minimum attack. I think to me, looking at the way Kuhn wrestled Tomasello, I think the Ohio State guys came out way too fired up. They allowed the environment to kind of get them worked up, and they tried to do too much too quick. After watching Carson Kuhn, I'm not, they were wondering if he could qualify for nationals. He's likely going to be 1-2 going into the Big Ten tournament. He ain't getting a spot. So the only way he's getting to nationals is if he hits one of the qualifying spots, which there should be a fair amount. I think the Big Ten could get 8 or 9 at 25, but he's going to have to beat somebody that I don't think he can beat if he's going to go to nationals. So I got Spencer Lee by a tech. I don't think he gets the fall. He's more of a tech kind of guy for me here.
Yeah, I thought Kuhn got a lot of credit for that match against Tomasello last week, and to me it was like, man, you're in a hostile environment that benefits you 100%, and he was going for broke. He had nothing to lose, so to me that always he's not trying to keep it close or anything. He's just like, I'm gonna throw the kitchen sink at this guy. Yeah. So, I'd agree with a tech on that one for Lee.
All right. Paul Glenn, Corey Keener. I guess we can, look at Mitch McKee as a kind of a common opponent recently. Mitch beat both. Well, Mitch had a big lead on Keener, kind of saw it slip away a little bit. And Glenn, kind of wrestled, a fairly close match all the way through. I would say I got Keener by 1 here, only because it's at Penn State. I think the neutral site, everybody was coming into this year like, well, Penn State's like, well, we're going to have 10 All-Americans because we got Corey Keener. And then obviously, Siriano then end up transferring out. But I don't know who thought Corey Keener was an All-American caliber guy because I haven't seen it yet out of him.
What was his best season? I was trying to think.
He's a 3-time NCAA qualifier. I don't know off the top of my head what he's done at the tournament.
To me, he's one of those guys who his first 2 years, like, oh yeah, this guy's going to be an All-American, and now all of a sudden he's kind of just an afterthought.
Right, he never really hit that next level, I don't think. To me, it was just kind of, Let me see. Yeah. Pull it up.
I said, I like Glenn, and whenever I'm talking about kids, it's always relative to their talent level. Like, I know Glenn's not going to be an All-American, but I like his effort, and I think for what he has there, he really gives it to you. You gotta, a guy like Keener, I think is just too good for him, but I just know he's gonna show up and give you what he's got. So,
So Keener as a freshman went 19-14, 0-2 at NCAAs. As a sophomore, 19-12, 1-2 at the NCAAs. As a junior, 17-11, 1-2 at the NCAAs.
Okay, so he was never an All-American. All right.
Yeah, never even to the round of 12. I don't think he makes it there either this year. I'm not sold on him, but I got him winning by probably like a 6-5 match, something like that for me.
Yeah, I have Keener by decision.
Okay. Carter Happel, Nick Lee. Nick Lee's kind of hot. He's super physical with his hands, and he's always moving. I haven't seen enough of Happel to see where that may, if that style is going to give him fits. Lee's just constantly he wrestles similar to like Rutherford. He's not as heavy with his hands, but he's constantly going kind of that style, I guess. Obviously Happel had the fall over Thorne here recently, but was trailing that match. I think Lee wins comfortably by decision. I don't think he gets close to a major, though. I think he wins by like 5, maybe 6.
You don't think he gets a major? I'd pick him by a major here, I think. I remember last summer I watched Lee, I believe, wrestle Deacon in the junior trials. Was that who he wrestled? That's the only match I ever watched him wrestle. and he didn't do a dang thing. He didn't look like nothing, I thought, too. Not really muscular or anything. I was like, this guy won't be any good for Penn State. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, he's not bad.
And I think he's just going to keep getting better, too. I think I have him by a major here.
Okay. Get up to the number 1 versus number 2. Sorensen, Rutherford. These guys have seen each other plenty of times. I was kind of looking at it. The only result Rutherford doesn't have is a fall. He's got the tech, the major, the decision. I don't think he's going to get the fall. But Rutherford always wins it. Last year, obviously, down in the duel in Carver went to overtime. It was an awesome match. Sorensen just wrestled him and wrestled him well. Got in on his single legs, and it was pretty impressive watching Sorensen finish those shots. But that's Carver. This is not in Carver. Rutherford, I don't know if you saw the match with Keyshawn. He looked like he was trying to murder Keyshawn. He was trying to rip his face off. Looked so painful, and Keyshawn wanted out of there so bad. I think I'm gonna go Rutherford major here.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think it's gonna be a big major too. I'll go to my grave not knowing what happened last year in Carver. You chalked it up to Carver and Sorensen wrestling well, but if you told me Rutherford was sick or something, I'd believe you, because looking at all the other results and then that one, it looks like quite the anomaly. Sorensen got out from him, I think, once or twice, and
yeah,
I would love to know what happened.
I thought he was going to beat him, man.
Yeah,
I really thought he was going to beat him.
Yeah, especially when he checked off the box of getting away from him. It's like, all right, he's got him here, but I think that was the anomaly, because then Rutherford pinned him in like a minute at Nationals.
Did he pin him? I don't think he's ever pinned him.
He didn't pin him? I thought he pinned him. I don't know. Anyways,
Maybe.
Whatever. Yeah. It was, I know he got beat up pretty good, and I haven't seen Sorensen get beat up that bad since wrestled Dakota Trom at the Keith Young from Apple Valley. I don't know if you remember that name.
Oh, I coached Dakota Trom.
Do you?
Yeah, I used to when he was a high school kid.
So you were probably coaching him that year.
Critical guy. Yeah, I coached him that year.
That was crazy. The Apple Valley came to the Keith Young, and it was a pretty tough tournament that year. And that Apple Valley was rolling through the first couple rounds, and nobody really expected anyone to knock them off. And then it was Sorensen against Trom, and everyone's like, all right, this is going to be a good match. Trom took him down immediately, cradled him, and pinned him. And everybody's just looking around, and the gym was quiet, and it was like, oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah, Dakota was awesome, man. He was a fun kid to coach. He just kind of got caught up in some bad things and never really. He committed to Minnesota and then wasn't able to get in right away, offset and out of high school. So the plan was to get him down to the Rochester RTC, and just wasn't able to get the grades up down there to make it back. And it sucked because he was talented, man. He was really talented.
That, I think even a couple years before that, that was like Mark Hall's 7th grade year or something. He was wrestling. And
how's that work? So Hall could wrestle at the Keith Young as a 7th grader?
I want to say he wrestled as a 7th or 8th grader. But yeah, it was funny because the rumor was that Apple Valley had like an 8th grader wrestling, and nobody knew who it was because he blended in
he never
just with
like
everyone. Yeah, it was like, which one's the 8th grader?
Yeah, he never looked like an 8th grader when he won. Okay, 157, Kemmer versus Bo Pfeiffer. Bo Pfeiffer's not good. Bo Pfeiffer's not a good wrestler. Kemmer's gonna beat the crap out of him. He's going home to Pennsylvania. He's gonna get a fall. I'm calling it fall for Kemmer.
I'll go Tech.
Does Kemmer pin people?
Yeah. No, not quite as much. I mean, he does. Some of the guys he does, the lesser guys, but obviously we talked about it again on last week's podcast that nobody heard other than you and I. But where are you thinking Jason Nolf is? How injured is he? Or
he was still in the crutches in the background there, Ohio State, Penn State. We're not going to see him. I don't think he wrestles the Big Ten tournament. I think he's going to wrestle 2 seconds and injury default out because he doesn't care. He's still going to get the 1 seed. He'll have 2 losses on his record. Well, no, he won't get the 1 seed then because Kemmerer will be undefeated with a Big Ten title. So Kemmerer will get the 1 seed. I don't think Nolf really cares about seeding, obviously.
Yeah.
But trying to think who else is at that weight that would be undefeated yet and possibly ranked above him. But I don't think we're going to see.
Is Hidley undefeated? He's at that weight, isn't he?
He is, yes. Yep, so he's still undefeated. Joey LaValle, I think, has 1 loss. So Nolf may go in as like the 2, 3, 4, somewhere in that area. Seed.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think he cares about the seed, but I guarantee Kemmerer doesn't want to see him slide to 4 if they go, Hidley goes 2 and LaValle goes 3. So, but Nolf would have, he'd have 2 losses on his record because the only way he can get in is wrestling 2 seconds or 1 second and then injury defaulting at the Big Tens. So that goes down as another loss. I don't know how much the committee weighs injury default losses, or if they don't, if they take those with a grain of salt or not. I'm not sure.
Well, Soriano got, the 2 seed last year?
He was the 3 seed because Lezak was 6.
Okay.
And then Lezak got the sweet spot of the bracket because the 3 seed was gone. And then Joey Dance was the 2 seed and he got beat. And
to me, I heard all I needed to hear when Kale said, "Yep, we're gonna sit him out until the postseason," and it was like, "Wait, you're not even maybe gonna reassess in a couple weeks? It's just you're already going, yep, he's out until then."
Yeah.
In my head, that was like, okay, yeah, he's really hurt then because they're not even considering putting him in until then.
No. Yeah, and that's why I don't think he'll wrestle the Big Tens either. Because then you get 10 more days, of.
Yep.
10 more days, you can get him as healthy as he can possibly get, but going into the tournament. And he's so good that it may be enough, but there's going to be a chink in the armor. And it'll be interesting to see the first time he's tested on that leg when somebody shoots to the good leg and lifts it up, what happens.
What did you do to your knee again in college? Tore your ACL.
Yep.
What? Could you have wrestled on it if you had to?
If I had to, yeah. So I tore it October 19th.
Okay.
We looked at it. We tried to decide, do we want to get surgery right now and try to get back in time, or do you want to try to just get it as strong as we can get it and wrestle without it, do surgery in the off season? We decided to go right into surgery. I had surgery on the 25th and wrestled then my first match at the end of January, so it was just over 3 months after. I never really felt healthy that year. I always, in the back of my mind, kind of like favored that leg, my right leg. I was kind of hesitant to it. But, I wasn't going to get a medical red shirt or anything, so it was, we're going to wrestle one way or the other. It's either going to be with surgery or without it, but I'm going to wrestle. So I think, we've had guys. Owen Elzen was a name. I don't know if you remember that, from Minnesota. He tore his ACL in December, and at that point they just decided, we don't have time to do surgery, so they held him out for a month or two, got it as strong as they could get it, and he ended up becoming an All-American. I think he got 4th or 3rd that year with a torn ACL. So it's been done before, and other guys have done it too. It's hard.
What's the actual feeling like though in a match? Is it something where
there's no support?
Oh, no support.
Yep. So your leg, if you plant your foot and you shift your weight, your knee kind of holds your body still there.
Mm-hmm.
And with the ACL gone, it doesn't. Your body shifts. And I don't know so much. I mean, obviously, we're never going to get word out of Penn State what exactly happened to Nolf, but it looked to me, I've heard MCL, I've heard PCL. You could definitely see the pop. Something, some ligament tore, without a doubt.
So you think something tore without a doubt?
Yeah, I mean, I 100% believe one of those ligaments tore, without a doubt, and I don't know which one. Just kind of looking at, I don't think it was the ACL, just by the way his knee was positioned at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I'm not sure.
So then probably even scrambling is probably worst case scenario.
You're going to see an entirely different Nolf. He won't go to his scrambles. He's going to go to his very clean, basic finishes and try to just – heck, he may just go out and try to headlock everybody and pin him right away. And get off
and he could do it too. Yeah.
That's what he might do. Just be like, all right, I'm going out there. I'm going to throw a headlock. If I miss it, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to throw another headlock until I get one. I'm going to pin this guy and I'm going to get off the mat.
That sounds even more fun to watch than he already is.
All in. I love it. But
okay.
that would be my guess. I would guess we don't see him at Big Tens, and we'll see him come in as the 3 or 4 seed at Nationals, and we'll see.
I agree.
I think LaValle only has 1 loss this year, if I remember right.
I'd look, but I don't want my computer to blow up. So
yeah. I'll look while we move on.
Okay.
Marinelli, Joseph, you jump into that one while I pull this up.
Man, Marinelli's been looking so good this year. He's passed every test put in front of him. But, I mean, Chenzo, I wouldn't say he comes out of nowhere to be a national champ last year, but nobody really expected it with Imar there. And, Chenzo just gotten even better this year. So I think this is one of the matches I'm looking forward to most this year is to see, we kind of see where Lee was, but we haven't really seen Marinelli tested by a really high end guy. So I think it's going to be Chenzo here, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to see where Marinelli's at.
So you're going to take Chenzo by decision?
Yeah. Yep.
I really want to take Marinelli here. So he's never given me any reason not to believe in him, Chenzo, but I just can't. For some reason, I don't. I mean, he's really, really good. Don't get me wrong. He's really, really good, and this is going to sound really dumb, but I don't believe in it for some reason. I like Imar better. I don't know, man. That's my opinion. And Chenzo's looked really good this year. I might as well do it. I'm going to take the upset.
Ooh.
I'm going to do it. Why not?
So what I'm getting from you is you're saying that Chenzo's a really good wrestler who had the tournament of his life at the NCAA tournament last year.
Yes.
Okay. I can go with that. Yeah.
That's what I feel.
And, you
Joey
said
LaValle has 1 loss to Hayden Hidley.
There you go.
Hidley, 3-1 in overtime.
There you go. Okay.
So.
Yeah, the thing with Marinelli is he hasn't really given you a reason to think he can't do it either.
He wrestles a lot of close matches.
Yep.
He's had some close matches, but he wins them. And Vincenzo wins all his matches this year too, but I don't know. I just got a feeling he's gonna have some heavy hands. Chenzo's gonna take him down first, for sure. But then he's gonna have to work for that first one, and it's gonna wear on him. I got Marinelli.
I tweeted out the other day, it cannot be fun wrestling Alex Marinelli. It looks like torture.
Right.
He just beats the crap out of you, just like Zane did.
Right.
You ever wrestle anybody like that in college?
Not like that. I tried to be like that.
Really?
Yeah, that was me, but not as good.
Yeah. Well, you did pretty well for yourself. Okay. All right. I guess we're split on that one then. Yeah, I don't really have anything more there.
All right. Caleb Young, Mark Hall at 74.
I mean, yeah, I think you got Mark Hall, and I think do you have him by a tech? He seems to, I wouldn't say hang on, but yeah.
Mark Hall is one of the best in the country at scoring off of you when you come at him. But his offense is a step below. If he has to go out and score, he's not as good at it. But he's got, I would say 100% there's a better chance he pins him than he gets a tag. He's got that cement mixer. He's got, a couple things in there where he's pretty dangerous with. But if he has to score from his feet, if he has to go out and get it, he's just not quite as good. He's got his duck, but his duck comes when you're coming at him. All of his best offense is when you start coming forward into him. And if Young's smart at all, kind of the way Chris Farr wrestled Hall, and Hall ended up getting the major at the end, but it was like a 2-point match going into the third because Farr wrestled him and hand fought him instead of hard pressure forward and try to score on him. And it sucks. I hate that style of wrestling, but he figured his best chance to win the match is to hand fight him for the first 5-6 minutes of the match and then try and get a takedown late.
Yeah, you say you hate that style of wrestling, and I don't blame you there, but to me, you got to be like, all right, if I'm going to beat this guy, it's not going to be, 4 takedowns to 3 takedowns.
Right.
I want to narrow it down to 1 or 2 exchanges,
1-0.
maybe. Yeah. Or, something like
One
that.
take.
But
yeah.
So, I mean, to me, that's not like game of the system. To me, that's just smart.
Wrestling. Yes, it's just having the best game plan going into the match. I just like to see guys let it fly. I guess I would say.
Of course, absolutely. Well, who doesn't like to see that? But I'm trying to think back. I kind of developed a take, I think, watching Mark Hall on stalling and bottom wrestling and whatnot. And I was wondering if it would maybe help, calling stalling if we gave the guy, what am I trying to say here? If you're in rear standing behind the guy,
yep.
if you just like immediately the second that guy got to a tripod or stood up, if we just started going to a 5 count or something like that. Because to me, what's your goal on top? What are you supposed to do on top?
Bring him back down and turn him.
Not even bring him back down. Turn him is what you're supposed to do, right?
Right.
So to me, if you're doing anything on your feet there other than cutting him, you're basically stalling. I don't know. I was watching Hall, and even I think it was, who do you wrestle? Was it Jordan? He got to that tripod, quad pod or whatever.
Right.
And it's just, Hall was just kind of out front with the crab ride, not doing a lot. And I don't know if you start counting even in the tripod, but to me, when a guy, if a guy gets a leg in and I stand up to my feet and he doesn't bring me back, I mean, how is that not stalling?
Well, that's supposed to be stalling on the bottom, right? If I have a leg in on you and you stand up to your feet, they're going to call stalemate the first time, and the second time it's supposed to be stalling on you.
Is that not the most ridiculous call you've ever heard? I am on the bottom, standing up, trying to get out.
But you're only trying to get to your feet to get out of the legs. It's not – you're trying to use it as a technicality, as their reasoning for it. And so my kind of gripe with what you're saying is, well, now all I have to do to get to my feet, because I can block you from mat returning me if I know that I don't – my only job is to not let you bring me back to the mat in 5 seconds. I can stop you from doing that. So all I have to do now to get out is get to my feet. And that – because then you're forced to let me go. And I don't –
No, I hear you. I'm not saying it's like the most rock solid take. I've been thinking about it for maybe 5 minutes, but even to me that makes sense. Is all right. You can't take me back down the mat, and you're supposed to be turning me. You need to be cutting me, or you have for stalling. So I'd like to see how it played out. I guess how guys would maybe their styles would change or what would happen. Right. But okay, I guess that kind of branches off. Another thing I was thinking is, you said your goal on top is to turn the guy, right?
Right, absolutely.
Okay, say me and you are wrestling, we go to overtime, we go to the minute overtime, nobody scores. Now we're going to the 30-30 where one guy's on top, one period, the other guy's on top. What's your goal in the 30-30?
Pin you.
You're trying to pin me in those 30
seconds.
I
sucked on bottom, so if I got a chance to end the match when I'm on top, I'm going to do it. I don't want to go down. I'm going to get rode out.
I just think.
No,
me,
I know what you're saying.
It's so backwards. Like you wrestle your whole the match on top to try to pin the guy, and then you get to 30-30, and you're just trying to ride him. Like, why are we even doing that part of wrestling?
I agree 100% with that, because you are going to see anybody trying to work a turn in that 30 seconds. It's completely backwards from what the intention of the position is supposed to be.
Yeah, and I guess I've never just heard anyone say that or put it into words. But in my head, it's like you're trying to do two different things from top in different periods, and that's just weird to me.
Right.
Okay, sorry,
It's
I got
just
off.
like if baseball settled a tie game with a home run derby.
Well, I don't think they should ever have extra innings in baseball in the regular season, but that's a different story.
Yeah, we'll get to that in the summer.
Okay, yep, that's a good summer.
So what did you have, Hall? You had him by attack, or where did you have him?
Give me a major.
Okay, that's what I had. I had a major.
Okay.
Okay, 84, Mitch Bowman, Bo Nickel. I got Fall, Bo Nickel.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to say. You know, he took it to Miles Martin. Bowman's no Miles Martin.
That's Miles. That's Miles in February. You wait till Miles Marchin. You just wait till Miles Marchin comes around.
Yeah,
it's not. They don't call him Miles February in.
Miles Marchin. Okay, I never heard that. That's a good one.
We came up with that one last year at Big Tens when he beat him. We started calling him Miles Marchin. I tell you what, Reese Humphrey's dad, Jim Humphrey, loved that nickname.
That is great.
We were at the bar and that was all we were talking about was Miles Marchin, and we were celebrating with all the Ohio State guys because they were getting a kick out of us.
Yeah, I remember me and Hager one, I think last time or 2 times ago was in St. Louis. We were hanging out with Tommy Rollins and those guys a little bit. They were good guys.
Oh yeah, I like those Ohio State guys. They're good. They're fun guys. All right, 197, Cash Wilkie, Anthony Cassar.
Is it going to be Cassar or is it going to be Rashid?
I don't know. Nobody knows. Kale doesn't know. He tried to do a tryout match and the wrong guy won.
Were they saying that on Flow that Rashid got hurt in that match?
Oh, really? I didn't see that. I just thought Piles had said that Rashid won the tryout.
Somebody told me that.
He didn't look hurt in the background.
Well, I don't think it was like season ending. I think it was just he got injured enough not to put him out there.
Rolled an ankle or something.
I know I heard someone say that. But yeah, what's the deal with how they're handling that? How does that make any sense? To me, that's like Iowa, Happel, Turk on like steroids.
Right, except these guys have enough wins now and signature wins that they would get a spot no matter what. Either one of those guys, no matter what's going to nationals. Happel now maybe does with the win over Thorne. That might be enough to pull him through no matter what he does at Big Tens. But up until that point, I don't think he had one like that.
He beat Deal, who was ranked almost top 10 at the time.
Okay. I think, man, I really think they're stuck in a position where they have to wrestle Cassar until he gives them a reason not to at this point, right? He beat the number 1 guy in the country who everybody said was going to go undefeated for 3 years and never lose another match. Like, he beat that guy, and not just beat him, he handled him. And Moore had no chance at scoring that entire match. Cassar dominated him. I don't care what really the rest of Rashid's going out and pinning everybody, but you don't have a choice I feel like he's stuck. He has to start Cassar.
Honestly, at this point, you just said that you think both of them are going to qualify regardless. Actually, this is a situation where I think I'd keep flipping them back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
Just like you said, for one of them to give them a reason not to start.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could totally see just going with Cassar.
Do they send them both to the Matttown Opens coming up? There's another one coming up here soon. Do you send them both to the Matttown Open? Just say, whoever places higher, you're the guy.
To me, why wouldn't you just have that a tryout behind closed doors, and then that way you can go either way with it?
We never did tryouts in Minnesota. Never. I bet in the 5 years I wrestled there, I saw 2 tryout matches. Everything was settled at open tournaments or through one guy wrestling and giving you a reason not to start him.
So what was the situation for the 2 tryouts then that you actually did that?
Both guys, I think it was late in the season, with 2 or 3 weeks left in the season. It was where there was maybe no more opens you could send them to, but we would send, if we'd find an open in January, hey, you 2 guys go there and figure it out. Just because I think tournament wrestling is different than wrestling a match in your room.
Well, not even that. Just wrestling. I mean, I guess if you still meet up with them at the Open, it's one.
Which
thing,
was would likely happen, but I don't know.
I had so many. I mean, you obviously had the same thing, I'm sure. Just guys you wrestle every day is just such a different feel.
Right.
You just know what they're doing. I don't think you cradled me once, but that's what I was just trying to block the entire time. I was never trying to get away or anything. So,
do you think that the happiest guy in the world right now is Matt McCutcheon?
Matt McCutcheon.
Do you think Kale called Matt up and was like, "Hey, Matt, we're thinking we're probably not gonna have a 3-way tryout," and McCutcheon was like, "Oh, yeah, that's fine. You gotta do what you gotta do, man. That's okay." He's like, I don't know. He's like, my buddy Cam was texting me, and he was like, "Do you think that McCutcheon was in the bar?" And he was like, "Hey guys, hold on, I gotta take this call." And he's talking to Kale, and he's like, "Yeah, no, that's fine. Do what you gotta do." And then, all right, yep, no, we'll see. I gotta get back to studying, and then he walks back into the bar, like, "What'd I miss?"
What's that noise in the background? Oh, that's just the music. I was just getting a good pump in here.
Yeah, I think he's pretty content with his career right now.
Yeah.
Who we got? I got Kassar by decision.
Yeah, I'd go decision, but I could see that one getting ugly too. Wilkie, he's been kind of scaring me lately. He hasn't really showed a lot, and then like we were talking before, he was up to number 3 in the country.
Yeah.
And I think we agreed that he should have been ranked 3rd, but gun to your head, you pick him to get 3rd at nationals, not even close.
No.
I wouldn't pick him to AA. I think he's, 9 to 12 maybe. And he's been showing 9 to 12 lately. So
right.
Yeah, this one I think it has.
He's hard to score on though too. I mean, I don't see many guys blowing him out, and Kassar hasn't. I haven't watched him enough to feel like that guy's a guy that can go out and get a bonus point. So,
I still, after watching that Colin Moore and Kassar match, I still think that's one of those Sorensen-Rutherford matches last year that went to overtime.
Yeah.
To me, I think there was something more there. Had the flu, the day before, because he didn't do anything. I mean, he wasn't even close to doing anything.
No, he really looked bad.
So,
which I haven't been, Colin Moore to me didn't take the step forward this year that I thought he would between freshman and sophomore year. He was really good last year. He's the same wrestler to me. He did not get better, I don't think. Which blows my mind because he should probably be wrestling Kyle Snyder every other day of the week.
You think he wrestles him, or you think Snyder wrestles Tervel?
You don't wrestle Tervel every day.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I bet he wrestles Colin quite a bit, a fair amount.
Okay, so I guess continue my interview of you here. How does that go in college? Do you have your one workout partner you go with a lot, or do you try to mix it up daily?
I tried to mix it up daily. I had so Zach Sanders was a freshman. He redshirted my senior year, and he was tiny that year. Came in, he was a really little guy, and I was cutting a lot of weight my senior year. So day before weigh-ins, I was 1, pissed off, and 2, still probably 8 or 9 over. So I would just grab Sanders and beat the crap out of him because I was just so mad, and I just wanted a little guy because I was just angry about everything. But I had my guys that I loved to have the day before weigh-ins. I had my guys I loved to have warming up. I had guys that I loved when I was going to go a long day that I wanted to push myself real hard. If I wrestled Manny Rivera, we'd sometimes go hour goes, and man, it was a grueling hour. But situations for things like that, I guess.
You must have got better with your weight cutting then, because I remember in high school when you'd be way over the day before and really hurting from the cut. If I'd be wrestling or someone, you'd go hard for the first half of practice, and you'd have nothing left, And then Ray would be over in the corner, like telling me to hurt you or something. Ray Fox would be in the corner. Yeah. Just hurt him. Okay, all right. Maybe not, but we'll act like I am.
Yeah. Those are the days.
Oh, God.
All right. Heavyweight. Sam Stoll, Nick Nevels.
Sam Stoll, Nick Nevels. This, man, I want to see more of that Neville-Snyder match. That's another match where I saw people like
Snyder tried to do way too much. He knew he needed to win by 13.
Yeah, I saw people throwing around like heroic what Neville's did. And I was like, do you guys not know what you were watching? Like, that was a guy going for broke in Snyder, and Neville's basically just falling on.
Neville's took him down the first time because Snyder tried way too much, and he got over carried away. But the one where he tried to lat drop, Neville's did not take him down. He just fell the right way.
Yeah. I mean, they were giving him credit for basically just being bigger was what it was.
People were arguing that Neville's was not stalling. And I don't understand how anybody could watch that match and have that take. Like, Neville's didn't do anything from 6:30 in or 30 seconds in for the last 6:30 of that match. He just and he wasn't backing up, but he made no attempt to score. Like, he didn't care about scoring. And if the roles are reversed like that, they were throwing up the fist in that duel like that whole duel long. Anytime Ohio State wasn't doing something, they were stalling. The crowd was on them, and the ref would start hitting them. And the fact that you didn't warn Neville's at all blows my mind.
Well, to me, what happened is the ref looks up at the scoreboard. He goes, "Okay, this is a heavyweight match. I'm going to give it the heavyweight officiating."
Do you think there should be heavyweight officiating?
Oh my God, I get so mad when people I don't know. I hate heavyweight. I mean, there are a million. No, I shouldn't say a million. There are hundreds of guys that are awesome heavyweight wrestlers. You know, athletic. They're fun to watch. But for every one of those, there are 10 that is just going, all right, I'm just match starting. I'm hoping I fall on you once. If not, I guess we're going to ride outs.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
We always bet every year at the NCAA tournament how many overtime matches there'll be at heavyweight. And we usually set the line. It kind of moves, but it's somewhere around like 9.5 is the line usually every year.
I should pull these stats up. One year, a couple years ago after NCAAs, I broke down by bracket how many falls there were, how many majors, how many decisions there were, and you'd be shocked. Heavyweight was not heavyweight. There were a lot of falls. I mean, which is crazy, but there were not a lot of decisions compared to other matches, and even overtime. I'd have to look it up, but it wasn't like they were like the highest scoring by any means, but they were like middle of the pack. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it.
Must have been Kyle Snyder there.
I think this might have been before Schneider, but yeah, it was. I was not expecting that.
Okay, who do you got? Stoll or Neville's?
I think I got to go Neville's. He's so big.
Stoll is bigger.
You think so?
I think so. Stoll is a large human being.
See, I don't know what it is with me. I can't get into my head that he's big. I don't know what it is.
Massive, I'm telling you.
I mean, maybe I just watched the Michigan meet too much or something, but I gotta go Neville's by decision. Stoll's shown me a little bit more offense, and I'm liking that, but I think Neville's is just too athletic for a heavyweight.
Hold on, Neville's. I don't think he's. Yeah, he's another guy that hasn't made the step forward at all.
Yeah. But, I mean, you kind of say the same thing with Stoll. You know, obviously some of that's from injury the last couple years, but, you know, he hasn't really, blown you away.
You know, to their credit, too. Well, and you look at Stoll, like I think at one point his freshman year he got up to number 3, right?
I have to look. Yeah, I can't remember.
Think he probably or got close to there. He's number 3 right now.
Yeah.
He was behind Snyder. He's still behind Snyder. Like, he's not going to pass him.
No.
So there's only one more spot he theoretically could go up, and now that spot's taken by a guy who was redshirting and is back now. So, you know, he maybe he hasn't climbed the rankings at all. but it's pretty hard to.
Yeah.
The top 2 spots are anchored by 2 really good guys.
Yeah, and I mean, again, without looking at it, but yeah, I guess we'll see. I don't know.
I'm going to take Stoll decision.
Okay, all right. Well,
so I've got it. You have it 30-10 Penn State.
Yeah,
I took a couple upsets in there. I've got it 23-17 Penn State. I got it going 6-4. You have it 8-2.
You have a close. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I tweeted at Piles earlier today that I said, isn't it crazy to think that if Nolf's healthy and Lee is redshirting, that this could be a shutout?
That would be your 2 wins that you gave him.
Yeah, isn't that nuts? Like a pretty good, it's still a top 10 Iowa team would get shut out by Penn State.
When was the last time Iowa was shut out?
Oh my God. I don't even know how you'd look that up, but I definitely
don't think they had computers.
I wouldn't start any time before the 80s probably, or
you'd have to go to
after.
the library. You know how you can look at like the old newspapers up on the projector?
I don't. No, I don't. I have not been in many libraries in my life, so.
I don't argue that. All right, you got it. So I got it 23-17. You got it 30-10. Anything else this weekend? Minnesota, obviously. We're wrestling Rutgers and Maryland, the big match there. A couple big ones, but Richie Lewis, Wanzak, Siriano, Lezak. Either one of those intrigue you at all?
I mean, Siriano Lezak isn't going to be close, is it?
No, it's not going to be.
Siriano's pretty good on the bottom, isn't he?
Lezak rode him last year, but he was a freshman then. But Lezak did ride him in the duel last year.
Yeah, isn't 125 crazy? Like, you got your
125 is fun. 125, 141, and 165 are going to be an absolute blast.
I just like 25 because you got your top guys that are probably going to win it. And then you have a handful of guys that will beat any one of those guys in one match, but they won't put 4 or 5 matches together.
Right.
And I guess I can't really remember the last time you had something like that. But
Nate Tomasello is ranked 4th in the country now.
Did you see? Was that like the coach's rank? I saw someone tweet a picture of it.
Yes, where he was 14th.
Oh, yeah. How does that even work?
So stupid.
How's that? I don't get it.
So the coaches' rankings are each head coach gets assigned a weight, and they need to rank it. So then you'll have, let's say they have 80 coaches, whatever it is, ranking all the weights. So you'll have 8 coaches ranking each weight. They're going to take the highest ranking for each guy and the lowest ranking. They're going to throw them out. You're going to take the 6 middle ones, and then you're going to figure out an average. And that's how they do the rankings. How the heck they had enough people to put it that his ranking falls to 14th blows my mind.
What number got thrown out for a low one?
Right. I don't. It's not like, yeah, he hasn't wrestled a ton of matches.
Yeah.
But he's wrestled some, and he's beat some good guys. Like, actually, I mean, he has beat some good guys, right, or no?
Well, he beat Carson Kuhn.
No, I said good guys.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
He beat Lezak.
No, I said good guys.
Well, maybe not. I don't know.
So he's got wins over Brandon Cray, Ethan Lezak, Rayvon Foley, Luke Welch, Carson Kuhn. Yeah, so... But Lezak was ranked 7th. That's the other thing. So where are we throwing that result? Yeah, he's 5-1. But, I mean, I don't know. So Tomasello can take care of his ranking by going and winning the Big Ten tournament. He does that, and he'll get seated where he's supposed to be seated. But if he doesn't, let's say, because he's probably, Siriano's going to go in at 1. Lee's going to go in at 2, and he'll go in at 3. So, he's going to have Lee in the semis. If he loses that again, I could see the seating committee doing something crazy. And Tomasello could go in at like 6 or 7 at NCAAs.
Yeah, because they they put almost no stock in previous years.
There isn't. It's not. Nothing from what's ever happened before comes into effect at all. So it's only on this year, and he's going to be. They probably have 2 more matches, so that he would be 7-1 heading into the Big Tens, and let's say he goes 2-1 there, so he's 9-2. Cody Brewer was 13-1, and they ranked him 13th seed at the national tournament. So it's been done before.
Yeah.
If you don't have a lot of good wins, signature wins, and you don't have a lot of matches, they ain't going to seed you high. And could you imagine the uproar if he goes in at 6, 7, 8, somewhere there? He goes in at 8 and has Siriano in the quarters.
Oh, God. No. That wouldn't get you as much uproar because the Penn State fans would love it. What would give you uproar is if he was with Lee in the quarters.
Yeah, the Iowa fans would not like that. Penn State won't have anybody in that weight class, so they won't care. They just want the whole world to burn there.
Yeah, yep.
All right, you got anything else?
I don't. You want to talk about your idea of what we want to start doing here? I mean, maybe not this week, but
I got another idea I got from a friend of mine who just said, back when we were doing this podcast on the regular 9 months ago, he said what we should do is one week we'll pick an old match, and then something where you could easily find it on YouTube or Flow or something like that. And then you and I will have homework. We'll go back and we'll watch it, and then we'll kind of come back, and it'll be interesting to see if there is how we view the match from a guy like you who obviously knows a ton about wrestling, has watched it and studied it a lot, follows it real closely, or me who wrestled in D1 and has I guess maybe a different perspective on what's going on in a match. So it'll be my job to find an intriguing match each week. I think I'll probably lean towards crazy come from behind match. Just off the top of my head, I'm thinking the match where I don't even know if this is even on YouTube, but where Zadok came from, what was he, down to what's his name from Oklahoma? He was down 9 or 10, right, at National Duel, I think, and came back. Michael Leitner. Yeah, something like that.
That's on YouTube. I watched it.
Okay, so matches like that where it's just we're not going to pick 2-1 snooze fest. But I don't know. I thought it could be fun where we just kind of, see if there's any differences in how we view some of those things. So that's what we'll try and start maybe next week. So I got a job this week to find a good first match. I have to come out of the gates hot for sure.
Yeah, we got to come out guns blazing on that one. No, I think that's a good idea, especially if we get, start a following here of more than just you and I that actually listen to this podcast. Yep. The biggest challenge there is to actually get it published. But yeah, I think it'd be fun to kind of see what some other people have to say on some stuff too, or even some ones with some kind of crappy calls maybe too would be fun. But
I got one more thing I want to talk. Like I said last week on Friday, I went down and watched that that match with Greg Kirkley and Gable Stevenson. And man, did you get a chance to watch that one yet on Flow?
I saw all of the points. They had a highlight where it showed all the scoring.
So Greg was in on 2 shots, and so Greg probably weighed in right around 210 in that match, and Gable weighed in around 250. So Greg was giving up 40 pounds. And I've known Greg for I think 8 or 9 years now. He's been in Pinnacle since he was probably 8 years old or 9 years old when he started at Pinnacle. And it's just always been one of my absolute favorite kids to coach. Just just really, really, really good wrestler. Just focused on being the best wrestler possible. So I have no doubt that Greg's going to go do phenomenal things, and we're going to be talking about him someday on this podcast. And but that match was just really, really cool, and I can't think of a high school match where there's 2 guys that wrestle that have that kind of potential as those 2. And I thought they put on a pretty good show. They both got tired. Greg, I think, got tired just carrying 40 extra pounds. There was one time where he was in on a high C and he was kind of stretched out. And I don't know how he did it because nobody does it against Gable, but he was able to drive in and come all the way up to his feet and pull that leg in after getting stretched out.
Wow.
And it had to have taken so much out of him. But it was just pretty cool to see that, you know, I talked to Greg afterwards and I just said, you know, I would never have had the guts to do what you did. You know, just going up and putting it all on the line like that. I was kind of thinking about that. You know, my high school senior year, would I have had the guts to bump up and wrestle CJ, who was 2 weights above me, going for 4-2? And I don't think I would have done it. I hate to say that, but I think I would have been scared to lose. And that's the worst possible mentality you could have. But Greg was like, I'll go up and beat him. You know, he believed he could. And I still think there's a chance that maybe someday down the road he might. We'll
did you have these two wrestle a lot in practice? Or
no,
not?
Greg, Gable doesn't come to Pinnacle.
Okay, all right.
They don't see each other very often at practice, so they don't really wrestle all that often.
Okay, so I guess that was what I was going to ask. Is, you know, was it one of those matches that was close, but maybe they're too familiar with each other?
No, they're definitely not too familiar.
Where we're giving him too much credit, but it sounds like it was legit. Just because, I mean, we're talking. You know, Stevenson, another one you see way more than I do, but we're potentially talking one of the best ever as far as what he's done so far, right?
Could end up being. I mean, if he ends up winning another world title this year, which I don't know how he doesn't, he's probably going to be the best high school wrestler ever, maybe.
Well, he's wrestling senior level this year, isn't he? Or no. Would that be dumb? Because you got Schneider.
But he'd have Gwiz.
Gwiz, yeah, heavyweight.
But I think his plan is juniors one more year, because he still last year he wrestled in juniors, but he's not a junior. He wasn't a junior.
He was a cadet. Yeah,
he was still a cadet. This year's his first year at juniors.
Okay, all right, that was what it was. Okay.
So I think he'll wrestle one more year juniors, and then he'll go seniors next year to get ready for the Olympic trials the following year.
Yeah. So I mean, he's got a lot of matches left to win in his career, but I mean, as far as what he's done so far, he's got to be right there in the conversation. One of the best ever.
Absolutely. I remember watching him when he was an 8th grader in the state finals as an 8th grader in the big school class at 195 pounds, which is stupid. Like, it's not supposed to happen. 195 pounds is like full grown men, especially all your big schools are inner city Minneapolis schools. Like, they're 1,900 kids per class. Like, you have the best athletes to choose from, and this 8th grader is coming out and he ends up making the finals. Is absolutely incredible.
Wow. Yeah, especially at 95, because you're not heavyweights. You're getting some of the roly-poly guys, but 95, you're getting the big athletes. So
right. It was pretty impressive. He's done a lot of impressive things, and I think they both will. So it's pretty cool to see that they were willing to do that. And I mean, Simley High School was absolutely jammed. They said they thought close to 2,000 people there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, for a high school match, that's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
So, all right.
Yeah, you got anything else?
No, I think that'll cover it for this week.
I pray to God that somebody other than us hears this podcast.
I think the world deserves this podcast.
Oh God. Okay. It shouldn't be this hard. Like, I just thought you just talked into a mic and it just got broadcasted on the internet and just spit takes into a mic. But I don't know. All right. Okay. I guess we don't really have any way to sign off yet. Maybe we need to get more creative on that too. But
Panama.
Yep. There we go. All right. Well,
I'm dreaming about spring break. I don't know about you.
Maybe 10 years ago.
Shouldn't have had kids.
I know. They're fun though. All right. Well, I'll see you next week then.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Later, man.
See ya.